broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I don't speak Arabic, so you're getting Italian tonight. I'm Alikona Bradford, and welcome to the Arrow After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. If you are joining us live, don't forget to join the hashtag ABTV Arrow, and you can come co-host with me. We have another exciting episode, but first let's introduce all of our fantastic hosts, starting with the lady who's got her eyes closed but is rocking out right on
I'm
my
having
left.
a grand old time. And I'm also sick as a dog. Hi, you guys. I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's Taurijay.
Who said you could go next?
I did. I seized control.
Boy, it's not like we go in order or anything.
I don't know if I want to jump in the middle of this. I am Lex Michael. I'm on Twitter and all the other inter things at the Lex Michael.
Lex Michael, I didn't even introduce myself as far as my Insta everythingy, socially things, but I'm at Boys and Beauty 01 on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube in my bathtub, Boys and Beauty with Alikona, and on Instagram.
Guys, she's doing accents again.
I know. Somebody just, haul me out.
I love how
I'm
you
good.
keep doing the thing like this is new.
It feels new to me every time. I'm equally as put off by it every time I experience
My
it.
accents?
Bless.
You don't like my accents?
What is this?
Fool you.
It's a new
Okay,
one.
yeah, see, I'm bringing in the newness. Okay, now, let's get into the show. Can I just say, first thing I want to bring up, the opening, I believe it's the opening segment, is when we see Sarah just taking out some bad guys and a girl, right? I swear, I kid you not, I was like, wait, did we cover the fact that Thea works fast food? When did she start working fast food?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Huh? Like, that one crossed my... I mean, I don't know if that you guys at home or you guys on the panel, if that crossed your mind the second that happened, that these girls look like Thea. I mean, obviously it ended up being a pattern, but from the get-go.
I thought she was Thea before the scene ended and people were like, that's not Thea. I was like, oh... My first thought was actually, these guys are barking up the wrong trail, because Thea would whoop their
ass.
Yeah, destroy them.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then when she didn't, I was like, what's wrong? Why isn't she fighting back? Anyways, okay.
Am I the only one who knew that it wasn't her?
Maybe.
Probably.
Twitter
I
followers.
didn't think it was her either.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe me. Okay, we're on the same page. At least
Yeah.
you and I
Yeah,
are
we
on the
were
same
too busy
page.
high-fiving so hard
Right,
that we just
so
missed
hard.
I got the facial recognition thing.
Yeah, me too.
You know what?
A little bit.
For both of you. Okay, so now this conversation is just me, Tauri, and you guys at home. Let's also talk about how, Sarah is one stealthy bee. This entire episode, I was like, geez, she's like going in there like a linebacker, like, ooh.
I feel like this episode was just like, okay, so Sarah's crazy, so we can do things that aren't logical. What crazy entrance do we want this time? Let's throw her in through a window. Let's have her sneak past a whole bunch of people that she really shouldn't have been able to sneak past who were in the hallway. Let's do this. Let's do that. Ba-boom, Sarah. She came in like the Kool-Aid man for half of these.
So good.
I don't think they'll get another chance to do it, so they're just like, we're
All
doing
in
it.
one episode.
We're doing
Through
it.
everything that we
got
can put her through.
Constantine, We have
That's
crazy
true.
Sarah. We're gonna go whole hog because we're gonna have to get serious business after this. So you know what? Screw it. Let's go. Let's go.
But you know, it's looking at it from a point of athleticism. I will say I really enjoyed it. I know that Katie Lotz is also, she's a B-girl. She also does parkour, and she's a dancer, and she does martial arts. So, I mean, I don't know. She does have a stunt double. I don't know how much of it was her and what wasn't.
I would imagine going through the glass was a lot of stunt doubling.
Yeah.
But
generally speaking.
But I mean, watching the scenes, like, okay, for example, when she'd hop in there and they're running down the stairs and she's jumping this and jumping that, and even when she's fighting, she's just going at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, Katie. I don't know if that's you, but if it is, you get it. I liked it. I was very
I would assume it's a
excited.
combination of her and then doubles.
Yeah.
You know what? I just like to think it's her. Okay.
That's the very base, obvious way to go, yes.
Yeah.
It's her and also the stunt doubles that we've covered have existed.
A little bit of everybody.
Right.
One thing that I didn't realize, because usually a lot of times if we're explained something when we watch the show, we don't often see characters give an explanation to other characters, if that makes sense. So this time around, we heard Thea give the explanation to Laurel about what her bloodlust is with Roz.
Right.
And I didn't mind it, but it was definitely a repetition because we already heard it last episode. Was it last episode?
Was Laurel not there for that conversation? I thought she was.
I was the same thing too. Laurel seems a lot clueless on a lot of things, though.
No, because I think that conversation happened in the bedroom after she had killed the two people.
And Thea just kept all that to herself, didn't she?
Well, there were several
Secrets and
conversations
lies.
in this episode that seemed to exist largely so that moving forward we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Everybody.
because this is Miscommunications, the series, so they needed to get that figured out.
And it's nice that they took care of that episode 5 of the season instead of episode 15. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Forgive. Okay, Katie and I are on the sick boat. We're like, got my roll.
We are
toilet paper
bookended by
here.
death.
Anyhow,
Bookended by Death is the name of my Kiss cover band.
okay,
I like it. That's good.
All right. Well, we mentioned Laurel earlier, and,
Yes.
and Laurel to me, I know she has every right to feel the things she feels, but I still find myself getting slightly annoyed with her because it's interesting how when she's talking to Oliver, she says something along the lines about him being a hypocrite,
Yes.
and you got to bring your sister back, and blah 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 blah, and she's pretty much calling out Oliver for being selfish, and I'm looking at her like, do you not own a mirror right now? Because I feel like you're pretty selfish yourself and not seeing things from other people's point of view, especially when multiple people have told you this is not a good idea.
Right.
She's not necessarily wrong to call Oliver out for all of that because most of it is accurate. But yeah, I agree completely. The irony is that she's not aware in that moment that she's exhibiting the same traits that she's calling him out for to a more destructive degree, arguably, than he did.
Right.
Right. I mean, I feel like if this happened at any other time, like if this had happened like shortly after Thea was brought back or shortly after he came back to town, maybe. But like after she had already gone through the process of ignoring everyone's warnings and essentially she still lives in this world of denial, it seems more petulant than actually valid.
Yes.
Right.
Pot and kettle are having a screaming match at this point.
Well, I mean, even her
both
dad at one point says, Laurel, you do realize, A, that's not Sarah inside there. B, if you hadn't brought her back, all these people wouldn't be dying. So maybe you shouldn't have stopped me from trying to kill her. And of course, Laurel's back on her, but it's your daughter.
And we talked about this a little last week, in that at this point she has to keep moving forward. Because if you step back and reflect on, I totally screwed this up, well, that's a downward spiral you're not getting out of.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's in denial, but she has to be at this point. Coping mechanisms.
Yeah, I will say I was very pleasantly surprised more than once in this episode by how well Oliver took all of the news that he was given.
Yeah.
He seems to have been, since the end of season 3, maybe it was just the several months he spent living in this domestic existence with Felicity, but he seems to have done a lot of emotional growing.
Yes.
Because literally,
Yes.
I don't know what I was expecting, but certainly more when he finds out that Sarah's alive because they lied to him and went to Nanda Parbat, put her in the Lazarus pit. I was expecting more than, geez. And that's pretty much but as soon as I was like, oh, what? And I really liked it.
He spent this whole episode on like chill factor 10.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty
I
great.
was gonna say that's something I noticed too, and maybe that's that whole let's lighten Arrow up a little bit, which is fine. But it's almost like when he was receiving some of that information, there was a slight grin on his face. Do you know what I mean?
That is something else I noticed in this episode, and I thought about it specifically. I would say in the first 5 episodes of season 4, Oliver has smiled more than in the previous 3 years combined.
But like, I wonder if
You
that's
know
something.
what else has happened? He's had 5 months of vacation with the woman he wants to propose
True.
to.
That's
True.
true.
That would probably do
But
it.
I wonder if Stephen Amell is going into this like, I'm gonna smile more. Like, I'm happy now. I'm just gonna, or if it just is naturally happening in the moments, if that makes sense.
Everyone really likes it when Grant does this. I should try it.
Oh man. God, I was gonna say something in relevance to that. Oh, I was gonna say, even when Felicity talks to Oliver about Ray and how, there's this message thing going on and I listened to it, she's talking about her ex-boyfriend. He took that real well. And maybe in his mind, he's like, hey, he's dead. It's cool. It's not even a threat. But what, baby? What happened? You listened to the message? How was it?
Wow.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have much room to talk since his ex-girlfriend is running around town.
Sure.
Two of
Several
them.
of
Two of
them.
them.
Two of his ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on in our Twitter feed. Because, we like to include you guys. Let's see.
Apparently, the Mr. Pickle is a lie.
Sorry, we were having a what is a lie face off over in the
Oh.
chat. But also, they're mostly talking about Laurel.
Shame on Mr. Pickle, then.
Mr. Pickle, what's happening?
What?
Okay, well, anyways.
And
Sorry,
Malcolm
guys.
killed 500 plus people, but nobody calls them out. We call out Malcolm all the time, but it's gotten redundant because he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's good with it. He's good with all of it.
He goes from true neutral to neutral evil so quickly. We're just like, it's Merlin. Screw it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Right.
What did you expect?
Whatever, he's vacationing right now in Nanda Parat.
That dead horse is now glue. We have beaten it so
now
much.
glue.
So
Glue
we
and-
just.
Wow.
Glue and dog food.
Ooh.
That's gross.
The
Okay,
truth hurts,
anyways.
guys.
What's it? I
So that
love
happened.
the comment about your spa date was at Nanda Parbat, and the immediate rejoinder was the only place we could get a reservation.
So stupid, but yeah,
That was
not
some
to...
really good back and forth quippy writing this episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Even, you know who I really, really enjoyed? Even though it was so small during this episode, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, Curtis.
Enjoyed
a
it,
lot.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Yeah, he was
Fairly
great.
certain that number of energy drinks would have killed a man.
He did himself suspect that he was having some type of cardiac episode.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm like, no, honey, no, it's not.
Oh, you should check that out.
It's okay. Did anybody, maybe, because I'm a little naive sometimes and I believe anything I hear. Was he for real when he said he was Olympian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Evidently, that's a thing in the comics.
That is a thing in the comics.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Then I missed that memo.
It's a thing in the comics. It's not usually something, I guess, in life that one just glosses over like that, maybe. But yes, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Do we know what he Olympianized for?
Olympianized.
Yeah. I'm in the word-making mood.
He said in the episode, but I don't remember.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Internet, in the live chat, does anyone know off the top of your head what Curtis Olympianized did?
Yeah.
Bronze medal for something or other.
Your bronze medal for Olympic things.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Decathlon. Decathlon.
Decathlon.
Oh, okay, got it. Anyhow, but we did find out, going back to the whole Ray situation, that obviously Ray's alive. We knew that, we talked about it on panel, but it's nice that it actually came to the front as far as in the show, that we now know that Ray
Yes.
is for sure alive.
Well, I mean, we knew he was coming back because he's one of the leads on Legends of Tomorrow, but it's the circumstance of how he comes back.
Right.
And apparently, we saw in the teaser, Damien Dark has him in a little box.
I know, so sad.
This poor
This is
tiny...
a thing called a present. The whole thing starts with a box.
Ah, I see what you're doing.
But you didn't go in on it. I am disappointed.
No.
He's a decathlete.
Decathlon. Okay,
There
it
you
is
go.
Decathlon.
Oh, that's funny.
NBC Peacock Feather Disc.
Oh, is that what that was?
That's very
I
good.
get it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
So good.
very, very
For the-
good.
And he to scratch his back. Ah, so good.
For those of you who didn't get that, we're listening. We're looking at the live feed right now. If you are watching post live show, be sure to join us live so you can join in the conversation. But yes, we're talking about that lovely feather that John Constantine was scratching his back with. That's pretty awesome.
So are we gonna jump in
Let's
to
talk
that?
about
Are we gonna
him.
jump
Talk
into
about
the
the man.
meat? To the
Please,
meat?
yeah.
Okay.
Hashtag Constantine on Arrow.
So I told Tauri the other night I'm pretty excited to run this one down. All right, John Constantine was created by Alan Moore, Steve Bissette, and John Totalband, June 1985, Saga of the Swamp Thing, number 37. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say, I said this, Tauri, to you the other night. For my money, the Alan Moore run on Swamp Thing is one of the best runs on any comic book that I have ever read. And I will go a step further.
You do that.
I will go a step further, and I would venture to say most of that run I would put up against any literature I've ever read in any medium. I think it is that good.
Wow.
You have
Suck it,
never read a
Shakespeare.
Terry Pratchett book in your life, have you?
What about the Twilight series?
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna respond to any of that. I'm not gonna respond to any of that.
Panel, you get out.
But he is, as I'm sure many of you know, he's a working class magician. He is an occult expert. He is occasionally a con man. He's a member of the Justice League Dark. He was the lead character of Hellblazer, his own series, which ran from 1988 to 2013.
And he's kind of a dick.
He is kind of a dick. And he's
great.
a wonderful, wonderful dick.
The soul level of this
That just
episode.
sounded so bad right now, Lex.
I said it. You know what? That's the hill I'm going to die on. I said
Those of you users who are on Tumblr, please GIF that. I want a GIF of that with the caption and everything, please, and thank you. Merry early Christmas to Katie.
Wait, a GIF of Constantine?
A GIF of
me?
you gesturing up and down and screaming about how he's a wonderful dick.
Ready, internet? I'm going to make this I'm going to look at this camera. I'm going to do it. I'm going to look at this camera. I'm going to do it. If you can't make a GIF out of that, I can't help you anymore. So, yeah, so I was very, very excited to see Constantine in this episode. Obviously, now, Tori, you were on the panel for the show that was on NBC, so maybe you can talk more than I can about the relationship between that show and this show, if there is one. Biggest thing for me, there was a moment in this episode where they go to this other realm to bring back Sarah's soul. Mm-hmm. And I had this moment where I stepped outside myself and I thought about the fact that I was watching a popular TV series in which the Green Arrow, Black Canary, and John Constantine were doing supernatural stuff to get somebody's soul back from another realm. And it was another moment where I was like, oh yeah, we being the nerds, we won.
Oh, yes.
It was an amazing moment. We won. It's the same thing where we live in a world where that exists, where a movie starring Ant-Man made $500 million, and we win.
And was actually quite good.
It was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it was just I loved that so much. That in a week ago, we got that King Shark cameo on The Flash.
Yeah.
So they're doing so many really exciting, fun, obscure DC Universe things on these shows now, and it makes me really, really happy.
Mm-hmm. I was howling during that King Shark cameo because I follow Gail Simone on Twitter, and she friggin' loves King Shark, and there's just so much stuff is he a shark? Is he really a shark? Just the back and forth. Yeah, that cameo made me super ridiculously happy.
It was great. And then last night on The Flash, they name dropped Atlantis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We live in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful age.
Lex
We got that
really
close to name dropping Aquaman.
Right?
We got that close to name dropping Aquaman.
All this stuff just makes me very, very, very happy.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. And I mean,
Okay, so
he's
John
right, though.
Constantine, let's talk about him in Arrow right now, shall we? Okay, you made mention of the fact that they were in this other realm to resurrect Sarah. Do we know specifically what that realm is? Because for that moment, and I'm not a comic book reader, so maybe you can explain it for me or anybody else who loves the show Arrow but isn't familiar. It looked like Nanda Parbat. I don't know if they went somewhere in a realm that was in Sarah's mind, and that's why they did what they did. I actually missed some of the verbiage, or not verbiage, but some of the conversation that was going on when Constantine was giving directions, and he said, I need 2 people, and I only have enough for 2, and I didn't hear the rest. What was he talking about?
That whoever had Sarah's soul wasn't going to give it up without a fight.
Right.
It makes sense that her prison of sorts would be Nanda Parbat because of what she's been through in the League of Assassins, trying to get out, getting pulled back in, being killed by the League, all that fun stuff. So, not an expert on the Constantine comics in any capacity, but it would make sense to me that this particular entrapment of hers would look like Nanda Parbat in much the same way that were Oliver in this situation, his would probably be the island.
Right.
Yeah, very true.
And we know that the pit essentially takes a piece of your soul every time it revives you.
Yes.
And so it could be that this realm is connected to that, and that all the hands that we're holding were the other souls trapped inside the pit.
Yeah.
It was very Disney Hercules.
Yes. Very much
interesting.
so.
Wow, yeah. Huh. Well, speaking of the island, that's when we actually get our first... This is not the first time we've had somebody from the island. Excuse me, sorry, you guys. Okay, back to our regular schedule program. This wouldn't be the first time that we had somebody from the flashback come into present moment, but I feel like this is the quickest we've ever had a character be in a flashback and turn around and be in this current episode today.
Sure.
We only had him for one episode, so
They had to make
the
it
best
happen.
of it.
But yeah, I really liked seeing the interaction on the island, and my favorite part, it's so cheesy, but my favorite part is when he took the miniature staff, if you will, and erased his tattoo and then put it on Oliver's body and then said, "You'll know what to do with it later. It'll protect you."
I'll know what to do with my tattoo.
My
I was
new
extremely
thing.
trusting of him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm totally gonna suck up this tattoo from my skin. Lift up your shirt, person I met half an hour ago.
And I was like, why did Oliver lift his shirt up that quickly? Because I was like, what are you about to do to me right now? Hold, please.
Because
Seem
freaking
trustworthy.
magic, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, he also wanted a view of the Mabs. Gotta get a view
Yeah,
of the Mabs.
I can't blame
And
a
he
man
is,
for
he is
that.
only too happy to oblige.
I
Right?
will say I was very disappointed that Constantine didn't hit on a damn person this episode.
got
He should have
close.
hit on many of the people, and he hit on none.
No, the only reference he made was something about a room full of pretty women. If I would have known that all these pretty women were in here.
Yes.
That would have come earlier. He's
Yeah.
bi.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Which they made no...
Illusion.
No,
Yeah,
and
there
he-
was some issue with, excuse me, there was some issue with that in the series as well, so.
Yeah.
on NBC. The NBC had some issue with that. Also had an issue with John Constantine in the comics is a heavy chain smoker. We saw him put out a cigarette. I was hoping to see him smoking actively. I don't just as
That sounds
But
weird.
he's cool, and you can't show that to the kids who really shouldn't be watching Arrow, but are anyway.
yeah.
Right.
Why?
How young is
Why
this
is
demographic?
Why is all the impalement okay and cigarette smoking isn't? I do also, and I made a comment about this when we were watching, I really enjoy that Oliver has Constantine's number in his phone still.
Yeah.
That made me happy.
Wait, hold on. So I can't see this far. Death Dare. The screen just moved. Sorry, but it said something along the lines that Constantine hit on Thea. When did that happen?
I think Thea hit on Constantine.
She made the
Right, she made
comment about
reference about
him
him
being
being
a
cute.
Very
specific...
specific flavor of delicious.
Yummy.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
yummy.
Yeah.
And I kind of went, uh-huh. And
Yeah.
Oliver went, oh God, my younger sister
Please
is hitting on
don't.
people.
Please don't. Stop that right now.
I'm like, no. You cannot blame her. And
To be
she's
fair.
done worse.
Very true.
To be fair.
Very
Yeah.
true. I mean, we also met Alex Davis, which is somebody who's going to be a future love interest of Thea. How do we feel about him at this moment? I mean, he's doing his job, but it's a little annoying.
I feel like he's working for Dark, the campaign manager,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I feel like, oh yeah, he's a plant. He's actually working for Damien Dark. Just immediately wrote him off as he's that guy.
Interesting.
It would seem odd to me to introduce this character just to be a campaign manager and love interest if he didn't have something else going on.
Yeah.
Though I would argue that since that's been done already in regards to that blonde-haired DJ, they might not go
yeah,
that route.
yeah.
That's a good point. I almost
Yeah.
forgot about blonde hair.
Dude,
DJ.
I forgot about him completely.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have blonde-haired DJ part 2. He could be.
Did he die?
He did.
He did.
He did
Okay.
badly.
Stabbity
he
death.
died badly.
He died. He not well.
Like a
The
lot.
campaign guy could
Much
also
as a
good way to
DJ on
die.
the weekends.
And then DJ on the weekends, and then we can all go, Thea, how did you do this twice? Wah. And there'd be a lot of that.
Right.
I know that Roy is eventually going to make it back, and it's only going to be a cameo, but it's still sad because I'm so used to the Thea-Roy relationship to see
I
him
know,
move
right?
on. I'll be like, oh.
We'll still sail that ship, just long distance.
Yeah,
They have phones.
exactly.
We've
Skype.
never seen Constantine on this show before tonight, and you just call him and he's there.
Yeah.
What up, bro? Remember that favor? Yeah.
I'm going like, what is the in-world reason
I
nobody's
mean,
calling Roy?
I know you don't have a series right now, so you're not busy. Can you come up here on mine?
But it's like, I totally get the real-world reason nobody's calling Roy Harper. What is the in-world reason that nobody's calling Roy Harper?
He smells.
we don't see you
It's
often
off
enough.
screen.
Yeah.
He's dead. He
That's,
died.
that's true. They could very easily Skype back and forth all the time. We just don't see it.
Well, and the fact, and you're absolutely right. He's supposedly dead. They can't have the connection with him anymore. He can't be Roy Harper.
Fair. That's fair.
And he's a scorn lover. He's like somewhere moping somewhere.
Well, he wasn't really happy the last time we saw him.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly.
Someone on chat is saying the phone number on that card is actually in operation.
Oh.
Unless it's sanctioned by the network, I wouldn't go calling it, guys.
Yeah, if that's just somebody's
It's
number.
the same issue that we had when Bruce Almighty came out and people were calling the number on the pager.
Oh, yeah.
Evidently, in one local township, it actually connected to a church.
Oh.
So there's this
Interesting.
nun answering the phone and people are asking for God.
Wow.
That's actually pretty funny.
Just come
you know
on
what?
down.
If not Disney, then probably it'll be Netflix. Okay, that's a totally different conversation. I have no idea what's going on. So,
Yeah,
they're talking about
corporations and stuff.
the idea of Constantine being continued on Netflix is what that conversation
Well-
is.
Netflix is unlikely just because
yeah.
of their
Netflix
relationship
is
with
in
Marvel.
Marvel's back pocket.
Right. Which is
Hulu Amazon.
Yep.
Just about anything else.
Or if nobody
the
wants
CW itself going, right,
Yeah.
we can tentpole this sucker. And we left the door open with Oliver going, anytime you need me, call me and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And if nobody wants to give a full order to a new, rebooted, retooled Constantine series, just add him to one of these ensembles because he fits so well into this world.
Legends of Tomorrow.
He would fit perfectly on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, but between, not Snow, God, Cold.
Captain Cold.
Yeah, Captain Cold.
Thank you,
Heatwave.
Captain Cold. Between Captain Cold, Heatwave, and Sarah, the snark level on that show is going to be insane to begin with.
Sure.
And then you add Constantine, and it just goes salt nuclear.
Fair. Also, I guess, in a sense, Rip Hunters, maybe they're Constantine in a way. He fills a similar
Rip Hunter
dynamic.
is the Doctor.
Yes, he
Let's
is.
be real.
He is absolutely the Doctor. But if there is a Constantine analog that is on that show already, I would say he's probably the closest one.
And just to hold people off of the past, yes, I am well aware that he played Rory and not the Doctor on Doctor Who. That's the joke. It's funny.
I get it.
Somebody's confirming that Constantine is on Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh no, they're just saying that
They're just saying
Constantine
that'd
on
be great.
Legend of Tomorrow for the win. Like, yeah, they'd love it. They
is that
agree
what
with
that
us.
is? Joyce was actually asking about Diggle's brother, which we have not gotten to.
We have not touched on
quite
that yet.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that she asked on our feed was, what exactly did Andrew Diggle do? Damien Dark did make mention of the fact that he was involved. Was it Damien Dark? Yes, made mention of the fact that he was involved in their drug scam, and he said that he was a little bit overexcited. I'm assuming A, he was obviously involved in drugs, but B, maybe he thought he could take over the operation on his own. He got a little bit greedy and decided to steal something, and
Or
maybe
that he
sell
thought
it for
he
profit.
could take on Dark.
Maybe.
Right.
Well,
I fought the Outlaw and the Outlaw won.
It seems, though, that there's something in the file that Lance handed Diggle at the end of the episode that might change Diggle's perception of who his brother was.
Oh, absolutely.
It
It's
might
the
have
truth.
been the drug running thing.
Yeah.
We did have a couple people on Twitter and in the chat talking about how if someone's going into very deep cover, then it's possible that the drug running was a cover for something else,
Yep.
and that, layers like onions.
Sure.
Right.
So who knows?
I mean,
Who
yeah, but
knows?
it's also just as simple as he died a war hero, and to know that he is this, I guess, not character.
Sure.
Then I mean that really, because then at that point you start questioning what you really know about him and if you ever really knew him at all.
Right. But here's the thing. The fact that Detective Lance felt the need to prelude even giving the folder to him, which I guess is a nice thing in his own way, just giving it to him. I thought you might want to know the truth, but you may not want to read it if you want to remember your brother as a man that you know him as. Well, okay, that's going to make anybody want to open it up and be like, what happened?
Well, and again, to me, I'm going, if it's not something real dark, I'm not phrasing it that way. You know what I mean? Like the way he phrased it made it seem like you really may not want to read this. This may make you really, really, really unhappy. I feel like I might lean back on that a little bit if it wasn't so bad.
Right.
But it's also Captain Lance.
To be fair.
One, he's been through some stuff. I think this was a very good episode for him.
Yes,
Last week
agreed.
and this week were both very good episodes for him.
Yeah.
And for another, he's always kind of had a little flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
I will say, the bit with Constantine just doing the spell and the look on Lance's face next to him, like, what on God's green earth am I witnessing? I'm sitting here going, you played Harry Dresden. This is amazing.
I always forget that he played Harry Dresden.
Everyone forgets the series because it wasn't very good.
And it also ran for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, a season.
But he was, that's right.
He played Harry Dresden, so you're sitting there going, okay, this is amazing.
Right.
He also the interaction that he had with Oliver, I feel like, okay, so last episode, the playing field got leveled a little bit because obviously Detective Lance got discovered that he's working with Damien Dark, and Oliver pretty much, knocked him down a few notches and what have you. And this episode, when Lance, I don't remember who approached who first, if it was Lance or Oliver that approached each other when they started plotting on what they were going to do as far as with this little the computer chippy thingy. That sounded real educational, but anyway, the thinger, he comes to Oliver to talk to him about it, and it is interesting. We talked about how Oliver smiles a lot more, and even his conversation with Lance seemed more like two friends working together versus somebody having superiority over the other person or someone trying to prove themselves. So that quick
I
conversation,
don't think they do anymore.
What?
I think at this point they're on a level playing
what I'm
field
saying.
in
That's
terms
what I'm
of whoever
saying.
has the moral high ground.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. It was interesting to see that
okay, yeah.
this episode. Because they did it last episode as far as, you did this, and you did this, blah, 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 blah. And now that's like,
there
they're
has been,
homies. Like, okay,
the
we'll
past
go.
2 weeks, there has been a ton of, everybody filling everybody else in, so we're all level playing field knowledge-wise, but yeah, a lot of everyone telling each other basically, do better!
Yeah.
Which is refreshing, honestly. But it was, you were talking specifically about Lance and Diggle, and watching the two of them interact, I remember how rarely we see the two of them do anything together.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought watching the two of them play off each other was great.
My fave is when Diggle was... Okay, first of all, Diggle had his selfish moments, because when it comes to his brother, I think he loses a lot of his sense of just common sense.
Like everybody else on
It's
this
a
show.
super sore spot.
Of course, but you know, when they're in the middle of trying to run this file and all these things are deleting, obviously he sees his brother's name, and Lance is like, come on, man, like, let's go. He's like, boop, boop. Son, hey, don't worry. I got the bad guy.
He's like, what?
I got the bag. Son.
Okay.
Just like
He became
that.
a
Wanted to make
Call
sure.
in. Go call in. Go.
Yeah,
go.
but I was like, I thought, oh my god, that is such a smooth move and very quick thinking. Because if it were me, I'd be like, bye.
These are the dumbest security guards on this planet or any other.
Yeah, they didn't
yeah.
really get a good look at that badge either. They couldn't have possibly from where they were.
He did name drop though.
True.
Well, regardless, it was a great interaction. I don't remember what Diggle's response was, but something along the lines like, you could have let me know first. Oh, it wouldn't have looked as real.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you probably enjoyed that. Somewhere deep down, I don't know why, but you probably enjoyed that.
But I liked it because at first when he strikes Dig on the back of the head, my thought is, wait, is your plan to drag him out of
Right,
there?
right.
That seems like a very bad plan.
He's a lot bigger than you are.
Yeah. But no, I thought, I agree completely. The lie was very, very smooth, and it worked. Maybe better than it should have.
Little bit.
But it
Yeah.
worked. It worked. They got out.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just not sure how I feel about the writing on this episode because on one hand, when it came to character interactions and witticisms and just the fun, snappy stuff, it was really, really
cute.
good. But in terms of overall plot and pacing, it was lacking. The pacing on this episode
Felt very weird.
dragged.
Yeah.
Like we were maybe 25 minutes through and I'm looking at the time bar going, wait, we're not like 40 minutes through the episode already? This feels like we're... Really?
You know, the only reason that doesn't bother me, though, is when something feels long, I really enjoy this show. So, for me, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's just make this feel longer, okay? No, wait, we only have 10 more minutes? No, make it longer. So, it didn't,
For
honestly,
me,
didn't bother me.
Given the usual episode beats, they hit a lot of them very early on, and then they just kind of kept dragging them out.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of not Constantine for the first half of the episode.
Yes.
And when they're hyping, arrow on Constantine, arrow on Constantine, arrow on Constantine,
mean
and we're
Constantine on
waiting for
Arrow?
that. You're right.
Yes.
Thank you.
And frankly, I'd watch either one.
Right.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But when you only have half of the equation there, you're sitting there going, okay.
Right, and it doesn't help when a good deal of what we're getting while we're waiting for Constantine to appear does feel a little bit uncharacteristically like wheel spinning. And we saw a couple things repeated multiple times in the first 20 or so minutes of this episode. We saw, and I understand that Sarah is very, very keen to kill Thea for most of the runtime of the show, and she's relentless in her quest, her pursuit to do so. But we essentially saw the same... Sarah attacks Thea, Oliver and or Laurel save Thea, they get to another location. We saw that happen, at least twice in the first 20 minutes?
We didn't need it twice. We could have had the hospital. We could have had the first one and then been like, okay, we're getting her out of the hospital. We're setting the trap. We're doing this. Like, you could have done something else with that 5 extra minutes of screen time.
Yeah, I would have preferred if they had started with the first, like the whole episode would have started with a Thea attack, and we spent more time in that, like, that realm between, or that, like, what do they call it, spirit realm or whatever.
Yes.
That was very rushed. That didn't feel like a climax.
Right.
It did. It felt quick, and it did feel a little bit small. It felt very sparse, and when we get this line about how whatever has Sarah's soul isn't going to let it go that easily, and when all you've really got are 3
Hands
League
grabbing
of
at her.
And they
give us
let
a
it go
hand,
super easily.
and like 3 little goons. It's like arrow done. Now, to be fair, the incantation and impalement by Constantine of the third thing, that was cool.
Yes.
But it felt very small. It felt like the
Mid-boss, not final boss.
Exactly. But I would, like you said, I feel like there was probably a better way or a more economical way to use that 5 minutes. I would have been plenty happy if we just had 5 solid minutes, like we come back from commercial, 5 minutes of Constantine just smoking cigarettes and hitting on people, go to commercial again, and then we're back to the rest of the show.
Right.
Here's what I didn't understand, though, is Thea... I get that she's had her bloodlust calmed down for the next few episodes, but she wasn't even close to being able to fight off Sarah, and that's what I didn't understand. I know that they are driving the point home that she's a little bit crazy, and with crazy comes this extra power, but we've seen Thea fight, and Thea can kick ass, so
Right.
she didn't even put up a good fight at all this whole episode. And I get that towards the second half she was injured, so maybe it was a little bit harder for her, but in the very beginning, the first attack, she just got thrown around like a rag doll. Now towards the end, I'm just gonna say that she was at a point of guilt to where she's like, go ahead, do it. That I
Sarah
get.
had years of training on her and the element of surprise.
Yeah.
And the whole, I don't have a soul, I can probably take a hit harder than you can regardless of your training.
But she
Right.
didn't even
Yeah.
try to throw a punch. Like, I didn't feel like she just rolled around, but she didn't even try.
See, that I feel is mostly the psychological aspect. I feel like that's mostly the guilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree. And plus, it's like she's fighting a wild animal. So I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going against someone on PCP or something, like you can't stand a chance because you're going to hit them and they're just going to keep coming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your best bet in that situation, like if you're trying to fight a bear, the bear's probably going to win because it's angrier and more instinct-driven than you are. Your best bet is probably to get away from the bear.
Yeah,
Right.
Sarah was in straight up berserker mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't fight berserker mode. You just survive it and get away.
If you're really lucky, you survive it and get away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
Me-
I still
Or there's that.
Excellent
Yeah.
rebuttal.
I mean, she could have killed her when she had a chance. She could have stabbed that glass right through her neck. But,
And she
you know,
didn't.
she has life rules and stuff.
Like
Like
we
rules
worked
and stuff.
so freaking hard to bring you back. I'm not gonna take that away now. For God's sakes.
Although, to be fair, Laurel had that moment where she actually considered
Yes.
shooting her, which would have been... Is that... Now, granted, we know how this pans out. We know that they were able to successfully get her soul back. But if we were operating under the assumption that, like, Arrow and Constantine never met each other, he doesn't have this guy that he can call that can help him with this, in that moment, if Laurel actually has to then kill Sarah again, is that better? Or does that make her seem so much worse?
It takes the show down a very dark turn that it doesn't need to go down.
Yeah.
There, you get to a point in the narrative where it just gets so messed up that there's really no salvaging it, despite what other characters are in the show, despite what other characters are doing. That would have been that point for this show, and they can't take it quite that dark or quite that bad because you
so-
cannot come back from
That
it.
is so unrelentingly bleak, yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to know, and Walking Dead has just waltzed past this mark and has kept going.
To be fair, people
And
seem to
that's
really like it on
and
that
that's
show.
a hallmark of the show. You know what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, fair.
But that's not what Arrow is, and that's not what it's supposed to be.
Especially not now when it's lighter in many ways than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So that's shooting the shaggy dog, and once you get to that, you can't go
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
Which is ironic because Constantine, his comics and his stories are supposed to be that dark, and they're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Oh yeah.
Unrelentingly
Yeah,
dark.
and yet he ended up being the trump card that made it so it didn't have to go down that path.
Yes.
Which is
Yeah.
really funny to me.
You know, the last thing I'll say about Constantine is the introduction of his character on this show. I like that they did the gradual thing with the magic. It wasn't like he just came out of the woodwork and Oliver called him and he's like, I'm here to resurrect. We actually did get a little bit of an introduction to who he is through the flashback, and I will say it's a flashback that I actually really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, it was a ton
okay.
of fun.
Okay.
I like that they introduced
eased us
him
into it.
in the flashback. We see him from behind getting hit in the face, which is really, to me, very, very appropriate for that character.
Yeah.
And then we got to do a fun little mini mystical Raiders of the Lost Ark thing with the two of them going
I
after
was
the Horus
expecting a
staff.
bag of sand.
Yeah, but that's exactly
I
what
was.
that's what it looked like when he went in with the orb, and then he pulled it out of the what's it podium thingy.
The what's it?
The what's it
Stone.
podium. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Horus. There's a connection between Horus and Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and we know that the two of them are about to show up. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Hawkgirl did just show up
Yep.
as a barista on the Flash, which I just thought that was an interesting. Obviously, they didn't expound upon it in any way, but I just thought that was an interesting, subtle connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hawkgirl gave Cisco her number.
yeah, good for Cisco.
Uh-oh.
Good for Vibe.
Dang, dude.
All right, guys. Well,
He's got good vibes.
if you are in the
Puns.
Celebrations.
Oh, so if you were in the Twitter chat, if there's anything else that we did not cover for this episode, go ahead and shout us out right now. Otherwise, we'll start heading into our news. So,
Well, we have a bit of a delay, so let's hit news and gossip, and then we'll get back to Twitter.
AfterBuzz TV News.
lots of good stuff, lots of pictures. Oh, I sent that picture. I didn't think I did send that picture. So this, let me pull up I've got all kinds of notes, guys. Okay, Rotaru is best known as one of the leads in the 2012 miniseries Choose Your Victim. Her resume includes guest appearances on Supernatural, Hellcats, Fringe, and Backstrom. And this is going to be her third DC comic TV show. So she's coming up. We are going to try our best actually to get her to guest on our show. So if for whatever reason you don't see us next Wednesday for our regularly scheduled after show, we just might have her come in and do the after show on Thursday. That's a big if. We're working on it for you guys. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about her since she potentially could be on the show. So,
Awesome.
Yeah. She's also a past love interest that is going to parallel with what's going on with Felicity and Oliver. Thea actually made a mention, not Thea, Felicity actually made mention this episode when she said, somebody from Oliver's past, thank God it's not another gorgeous girl.
Yeah.
Like, oh. Okay, and
It's
then...
a gorgeous man.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize I sent this picture either. This is a stunt double for, is that, I can't see from here. Is
It looks like Barrowmouth.
That is,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. What's crazy is his stunt double looks like I thought that was a wax museum photo, like he stood next to a statue of himself, but that's actually Bam, who is their stunt coordinator.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Oh, it's John Barrowman. What the heck? It's Paul Blackthorne. That's his doggy. I have a lot of stuff about him actually this episode. People were talking about, or we were talking about, I think somebody had brought up his acting. On our panel, our guest host was making commentary about the way he was crying and his emotions as an actor and how she didn't find that it was very believable because he wasn't crying with real tears. So, it's so funny. He posted this. He was rebuttaling her without her even knowing.
Rebuttaling.
So on his Facebook, he said, some actors, they can just turn up and deliver. In that sense, I'm not a good actor. I have to spend a lot of time creating the background of the character. For me, the more I know about the character, the less I have to quote-unquote act. Here's something I sent to Katie C. in season 1 when we were wrapping our heads around the Lance family history. So I have this long explanation that I won't read completely out loud. You can find it on his Facebook. But basically, he created this whole story about how they used to spend, Christmas. And if you look at the photo, believe it or not, Paul Blackthorne actually made that into a Christmas card last year. I thought maybe a fan did that to be funny, but no, it was him.
When do we get this episode of the show?
Yeah. Oh my God, sign me
For
up.
those of you who are listening to the iTunes podcast, it's a picture of him. He cut out his head, I guess, if you will, and photoshopped it onto... It should be a little boy, and he's holding hands with this
I
man.
would really like
Yeah.
the mid-season finale to be Quentin Lance and his magical snowman buddy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yep. Sign me up.
But anyways, he created this whole story about Christmas, and he talked about how, every Christmas, Sarah would sit by the piano and she would play Christmas carols, and every year he'd be so proud because she would get better and better, and then there was that one Christmas, the Christmas after she died, and how awkward it was, and how that's when his family fell apart, like officially fell apart. And so yeah, he has this whole backstory just to help him really connect to his character. I thought it was cool that he decided to share that with his fans.
That is dedication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is actually a t-shirt campaign that he did. We've talked a lot about Stephen Amell's t-shirt campaigns. Now, this is a while ago, so you can't purchase this anymore, but I just wanted to bring it up. He's really a huge advocate of both elephants and rhinoceroses with the poaching that's been going on a lot overseas. And so you can see some of these. He participated in... as like not a protest, but people were gathering together in this
Demonstration.
Yeah, demonstration. There you go. And there you can see him speaking out about it. But he had a T-shirt where it said something along the lines of poach
eggs, not elephants.
Yeah, I'm not all for poaching eggs, but I do get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm down with poaching eggs.
I'm vegan, so
Let's post some eggs, Tori.
let's not eat anything that had
Any
a face
day.
or should have had a face. Anyway. That's my bit on Paul Blackthorne. This next picture is actually Thea with Alex Davis, which we met this episode. And yes, it was confirmed that he is going to be a love interest. And I do believe in episode 7, he will see her bloodlust. And I'm like, if you still love her after that, well then go ahead. He's in for the long haul.
That's gonna be kinky.
This is this is a random picture. It's a postcard or like a baseball card that Paul Blackthorne had signed. You can find it on, I think this was on Amazon, and it's I can't see how much it costs.
He signed a baseball card?
$28.95.
There you go. So you can go on Amazon. You can get this card for $28.95.
What team did Paul Blackthorne
It's
play
not
for?
it's not literally a baseball card. It's just a card that looks like a baseball
A
card.
collectible card.
Oh, like one of the Topps type trading cards?
Yes, yes.
Got it.
And then, so somebody had said in the Twitter feed, too, they were talking about, and we mentioned it before, too, the theory that Damien Dark is Felicity's father. It has been confirmed by Wendy Miracle, who is one of the producers. That is not the case at all. Her real father is going to be introduced, however, in the next up-and-coming episodes. She didn't mention which episode, but he is definitely a bad guy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's going to be a very wealthy bad guy.
I mean, it's not entirely surprising, but poor Felicity.
Well, I said that it's a bad
Her
guy.
life, man.
It's really rough.
I mean, I suppose that's why the parents got divorced, but
Evil would do it.
Yeah, it can tear a marriage apart. Let's see. Is there anything else that I missed? Are there any other pictures that I have?
Nope, that was all of them.
Oh, okay, so that's my news. Less gossip, more news-ish.
Matt Lyrics in the chat brought up Constantine warning Oliver about Dark.
Oh,
Any advice for him? Yeah, get out of town. Like, okay, well,
he's that bad.
that's
Well,
not an option.
I mean, I think because he brings so much comedy to his badness, it allows me to oversee the fact that he is real bad, if that makes sense.
It's a little Ultron in that way, is that he's super, super funny, but you're also like, he just killed a guy. Like, killed him dead.
Yeah.
But that quip was amazing.
Really,
Like,
really
are
witty.
you waiting around for a cupcake?
Yes.
Oh my god. Damien Dark cupcakes.
Damien, I would not eat a Damien Dark cupcake.
I would not eat a Damien Dark cupcake.
I don't think
might
I'd
be
eat anything
tasty.
that man served me.
But the concept is hilarious.
It's fantastic.
Maybe he has a great
Be
dick,
like
too.
black or dark chocolate.
That's not exactly what I said. You know what? Let's move on.
I'm just saying.
But maybe.
Okay, anyways. All right, so then let's move on to some predictions.
Yeah, let's do that.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Vicky. Okay, y'all made me go first, so I'm gonna make somebody else go first. Ready? Aim. Go, Tauri.
Hi.
Eeny, meeny, miny, you.
Exactly.
Oh man, predictions.
Predictions.
So all right, we have the whole Ray thing. I'm gonna assume that he is not trapped at the beginning of the episode. I think that it's going to be a mad dash to find him, and Dark is going to win that. And so the next part of the episode will be them trying to get him back from Dark. I think that even though they're going to find him, I think it's going to take a few episodes to get him big again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I concur.
I disagree with the mad dash. I think Dark's going to have him from the get-go. But this may also lead them to Dark's lair, his discount Nanda Parbat, as it were.
I mean, I don't, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, what?
First of all, I imagine a tiny person, especially when you're evil and malicious, that's probably really, really entertaining. So
It's
there's
my Ray in a box.
Yeah, so literally, it's like when you're Damien Dark, that's probably your Netflix, essentially, is this tiny person you have in prison. Secondly, I would be shocked if Damien Dark does, as we saw in the teaser, have Ray captive. I'd be really shocked if Dark wasn't very interested in the technology that he used to make himself that way.
Oh my god, yes.
Well, yeah. Think of how many ghosts he could get into a lot of different places if they could shrink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I was just thinking he'd have fun shrinking people he didn't like, but that's a much
That's
better point.
stepping on them, too.
Much better point.
Yes.
More fun.
Yeah,
be great.
exactly. Okay.
You're all ads.
Multiple uses.
So I'm predicting, and I haven't done any reading on it, so I wouldn't know, but obviously Sarah's going to be here, I would assume, for a couple of episodes. I'm not quite sure how we're going to ship her off into, I was going to say Tomorrow People. What? Legends of Tomorrow.
Nope.
Yeah, totally
Yeah,
different
Tomorrow
show.
People, basically.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really curious to see if they're just going to be like, well, it was great resurrecting you, or not resurrecting you. What did they
See
change
ya.
to
Souling you.
yeah, great to giving you a soul back. This is awesome. We can have Christmas together again, but I'm going to send you to a different city. Go find Roy or something.
Go to Pittsburgh. People love it in Pittsburgh.
Go to Detroit. Meet up with Vixen. I think we're probably going to have another episode or two where she's just straight up out of commission. We may see her, we may get some conversations, but I think it's going to be a little bit before she's back in action.
Well, and she has her soul back now. That doesn't necessarily quench the bloodlust.
Yeah, we
very true.
haven't addressed that question.
Or will she have any memory? Like, will she have any memory of that night that she died? And will we hear her point of the story?
The fact that she was going after Thea says yes.
Yeah.
Or at least
Well, that could have
enough
been a
of,
subconscious thing.
well, even if she doesn't know, yeah, I feel like there's definitely, that we established in this episode, there is a link between the two of them that Sarah's able to sense. Whether or not she'll have any conscious awareness of it, who knows? Because I can't imagine that she knows consciously that it was Thea who fired the arrow. Thea's face, I believe, was concealed at the time,
got it.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But she's aware of it on a subconscious level. So does that translate into her active conscious mind?
I know what I predict. I predict that Sarah and Thea are going to team up and they're going to go at it towards, who's the pixie guy that I love so much? John Barrowman. Yes, because I could just see him skipping in his outfit in Nanda Parbat, like, I rule Nanda. Okay. Anyway.
I require fan art. Go, fans, go!
Either way, I would love to see an interaction between the three of them because now, Sarah's got her right mind on her shoulders, and I'm sure she can say something along the lines of, obviously you made Thea kill me, so you butthole.
You're a jerk. Do better.
Do better.
You know what? Last
That's
thing
the
I will
theme of
say.
this series. Do better.
The last thing I will say about this is when Oliver first saw Sarah's face, because he's been chasing this blonde woman around this episode, not knowing who she was until the nightclub where they run into each other, and he's like, Sarah? But it wasn't your typical Oliver, Sarah. It was more like a Sarah with a smile. And then I thought, you used to love her. I know you're in love with Felicity, but for 2 seconds I saw like a, ooh.
I mean,
Well, you can love someone without it being romantic.
Well, yeah, but it was just, I was like, no, keep those googly eyes to yourself.
it kind of goes back to what Holt was saying last episode when if you could, what would you do to spend another moment with someone who died? So like seeing her as a double-edged sword in that it's like, oh man, she's killing people, but oh my gosh, I get to see you again. Hey.
Anyways, okay, Lex, do you have any predictions before we close this episode out?
I think I hit most of the stuff
Great
that
prediction.
I was...
Okay, so anyway,
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Kidding.
What
Go,
did
go, go.
I do?
What
Hit
didn't
me with
you
your
do?
mucus rags. Stop.
Okay, anyways.
No, honestly, I based on the way people are buzzing about this episode on the internet already, I am really, really, really hoping that they find a way to what is happening? Oh, I'm getting a headband. I am really hoping that they find a way to integrate Constantine into this world more in the future. Yeah?
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm
In
happy.
the same way that I'd love to see him show up in Flash and have them all be like, who the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, first we have time travel, then we have multi-universe, and now magic, get out. You just
Too much.
go where
That's
you
too
can
much.
go back
I
where
can't
you
take
came
it
from.
anymore.
Yeah.
The shark guy, I could handle. This dude saying gibberish and making sand float. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
I would rather have sand floating than land shark, okay?
To be fair.
Yeah, jerk.
I feel like I could
Candygram.
I would know where to put floating sand in my head. I don't know where I would put King Shark.
I think
Okay.
King Shark would put your head in his mouth. We have
Shark
Alexis out there going,
bait.
shark bait! Ooh-ah.
Love it. Okay.
And then the red versus blue fan in me is crying because shark face, hoo-ha-ha. We had a character named Sharkface this
Oh,
past
okay.
season,
Got
and
it.
it was interesting.
You leave that headband alone, sir.
Apparently, I can't pull it off this way.
Good. Okay, anyway, so
Halloween's over.
guys, thank you so much for joining
wound is
us
back.
for this fantastic episode of Arrow. We enjoyed chatting with you in the live chat, and as always, we will see you next week. I'm Alikona Bradford. You can follow me at Boys and Beauty 01. Please, ladies, find me on Boys and Beauty with Alikona. I host a fantastic show on YouTube from my bathtub, and we talk all things hot, sexy men and beauty tips. It's a good time.
If you send her an email or direct message, she'll make you a fancy toilet paper hat like
Yeah,
mine. It'll be
hey.
awesome. I'm Lex Michael. I'm on all the Insta things at the Lex Michael. I'm also now on the Fargo panel, which we just started. I am on Historic Hollywood on the Popcorn Talk Network, and I'm on the Ash vs. Evil Dead panel as well.
Nice, and I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY. You can also find me on assorted panels here. If it's nerdy, I'm probably on it, so check it out.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet, and on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I am on many of the panels, including Steven Universe, which is going to be our last episode for a while, tomorrow, and Ruby, which is going to be our first episode of Season 3, also tomorrow, and Z Nation on Sundays. Remember to subscribe on iTunes, rate, like, leave us comments. We adore you. You know we do.
All right, guys, thank you again so much, Buzzers. We will see you next week.
Oh, dear.
Bloody egg
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
mate.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.